Hey everybody, welcome back. Episode 33, Habits of Core Leaders. Or another way to look at this is, what are the habits of leaders and offices that go on to become competent owners in our business? I had the privilege of addressing this topic at an LA leaders meeting not so long ago, so here's the footage. Enjoy. All right, so I just want to start off with this. I've been warming this leaders pin up for about 12 years now. Getting nice and warm. I think we'll maybe save it for NatCon. If you come to NatCon in Dallas in August, you might see Sabs get on stage and pick up one of these leaders pins. Anybody want to see that? I'm telling you, it's coming. All right. So, I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half the things you do, you might just as well turn over to me, and I will be able to do them quickly, correctly. I am easily managed. You must merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of all great people, and alas, of all failures as well. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, though I work with all the precision of a machine plus the intelligence of a human being. You may run me for a profit or turn me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? I am a habit. Pretty powerful. So what is a habit? Let's just start there. What is a habit? A habit is an action or behavior that requires no thinking or decision making. Let me back that up again. A habit is an action or a behavior that requires no thinking or decision making. So how do we create good habits? Or how do we create habits? Well, James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits. I like how he put it. He says, one of the most common questions I hear is, how long does it take to build a new habit? But what people should really be asking is, how many does it take to create a new habit? That is, how many repetitions are required to make a habit automatic? Habits are based on frequency, not time. So my topic this morning is habits of core leaders, or maybe another way to look at it is habits of leaders that go on to become successful owners in our business. So as we explore these habits, I hope I can answer two questions. One is, what are the habits of successful people? And two, what are the actions or behaviors that I can focus on with repetition over time that will eventually be cemented and lead me to success and become habits? So I started this by surveying. Anybody that knows me knows I like to survey. I like to get people involved. So I surveyed Brennan Fulkerson, Franco Tavera, Gareth Roberts, Elijah, Luis, Azim, Grant, and I asked them these questions. Hey, what are the habits of core leaders in your offices? What have you seen in your tenure that leads you to believe that if you have these habits, you're going to go on to be successful? And I got a lot of answers. And I started highlighting the commonalities and came up with basically 4 habits that I'm going to share with you today. Okay, the 4 habits according to this plethora of successful people in our business. So I don't want to overkill habit number 1, but there's something in this repetition here. It's the habit of discipline. Now obviously Gary touched upon discipline, but let me give you a couple little side shoots of this. When motivation is absent, discipline must take over. Now last I checked, you guys aren't AI robots yet. Maybe in the future we'll have reps in the field that are AI robots, but until now you're humans. And that means you're going to go through ups and downs. There's going to be times that you're just simply not motivated. And if you are relying on motivation to always be there to be successful, you're going to be wildly disappointed because there are times you're just not motivated. And when that happens, the new boss, the new sheriff in town, has got to be disciplined. That's got to carry you through enough time until your motivation is back. So, just a quick field story. There was a time in the field, I spent the first half of the day, good day, so to speak. No sales yet, but I had a lot of juicy callbacks lined up. I felt good about the second half of the day, and it was time to take a lunch break. And as I'm walking towards my car, I see something shiny beside the driver's door. A little bit of panic sets in, a little bit of anxiety. I walk a little faster, something just feels wrong. And I get closer to the car, and sure enough, the mirror is smashed. And the front left quarter panel is smashed. It's a blue car, and there's silver paint in my car. I'm like, I can't believe what happened. I look under the windshield wiper expecting a note or some type of insurance, and there's nothing. And I'm the victim of a hit and run all of a sudden. I get in my car with rage and fury, and I go speeding away, looking for the silver car with blue paint in the bumper. Now, it didn't take long for this intelligent human being to realize that I live in a city of about 10 million people, and the law of averages tells me you're probably not going to find that car. So I made the executive decision at that point that I am no longer field worthy, okay? It would be dangerous to have me in the field for the second half of the day. To the customer and the client, okay? I could do something really stupid that I might regret, so I made the executive decision, I'm taking the rest of the day off. And I thought, well, maybe what I could do is get a little bit of mall therapy. Maybe I'd go to the mall, there happens to be a mall in my territory, and maybe buy myself a new tie and prepare for tomorrow. And I think everybody in the office will understand why Jamie had a bad day or a slow day. It's just, look what happened to me. Hit and run, can you believe it? I think I'd get a lot of empathy. Well, after I settled down at In-N-Out and had my double-double, I was a little less hangry, okay? And it sort of clicked right then and there that this was my moment. This is my moment to enter the realm of discipline, because if you lined up 100 people in that situation, something tells me 90 or more might be doing the same kind of thing. Maybe not mall therapy, but they just wouldn't get out there and kill it, and rightfully so. This is my moment, and I've never wanted to ring the bell worse than I did that day. So I had to remind myself, Jamie, you got to follow the 8, don't have commission breath, don't try too hard, don't screw this up. But I wanted it, and I wanted it bad. And I'll tell you, when you display discipline, confidence is a byproduct of your discipline. Gary referred to that. Stephen Covey says, and this is pretty powerful, only the disciplined are truly free. The undisciplined are slaves to moods, appetites, and passions. The opposite of discipline is indulgence, sacrificing what matters most in life for the pleasure or thrill of the moment. He goes on to say that the successful person has formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Successful people don't like doing them either necessarily, but their dislike is subordinated by the strength of their purpose. Okay? So discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Okay? The habit of discipline. The second common denominator is the habit of perseverance. Now, years ago, we thought we'd do a study like, hey, who are the people that go on to be successful in the business? Like, if everybody went to a certain school, and like all the people that come from this school go on to become owners, that would save us a lot of money on ads and stuff. Like, if everybody that becomes an owner has a degree in business, well, then let's just not hire the kid with the English degree, shall we? So let's look for the commonalities. And through that process, so hey, here's all the people that became consultants, here's all the top owners in the business, what do they have in common? Well, some have their bachelor's degree, some had their associates, some had their master's, some didn't go to college, some come from a family of immigrants, some come from a family that's been here for a long time. There was nothing in common except one thing: they knew how to take a punch. It's the only common denominator. So my brothers and sisters that are consultants in the business, there's this high level of respect we have for one another, because I know that you can take a punch, you're down on the canvas, it looks like you're out, people are betting against you, and that's a silly bet to make because you're going to get back up. perseverance. You will never hear somebody successful say that I just quit my way to the top. It doesn't exist. You cannot find that quote anywhere on the internet. I just quit my way to the top. There is a level of perseverance in all successful people. That is habit number 2. Habit number 3 is the habit of a fine-tuned work ethic. All right, so I heard something popular when I was in the field, and I think it's just as popular today. Work smart, not hard. I heard a lot of people telling me that. And maybe what they were saying is, hey, work your territory smart, work correctly. That's kind of what I was thinking. That's what you're saying. Maybe be prepared the night before. And so that's working smart, not hard. And the more I studied people that had that popular paradigm, the more I saw these people were notorious for taking shortcuts. And something I tell my kids all the time is the longest path between 2 points, point A and point B, the longest path is the shortcut. Go ahead, take the shortcut. You're going to see it's going to take you longer to get there. It is not the paradigm of work smart, not hard. It's the paradigm of work smart and hard. It's not an or. All the people that we role model, think of all the athletes you put on a pedestal, think of all the family members that you have that you're like, oh, I want to be like grandpa one day. I mean, these are people that have a fine-tuned work ethic. I would challenge anybody here to say, yeah, you have a role model in your life that's really lazy and you really admire and look up to this person. I would really challenge that. So one way to look at this, and Juanice was alluding to this and kind of put a tear in my eyes, he's talking about his grandfather, but I mean, think of your ancestry, or think of it this way. How do you wear your jersey? The back of my jersey says HEP, H-E-P-P. I remind my kids all the time, the back of your jersey says HEP. What does that mean? Where did your ancestors come from? I mean, some of our ancestors came over on their own free will. Others weren't as lucky. But if you look at your family lineage, if all of you do your history on like, where did my family come from? I'd be willing to bet that your ancestors that stepped foot on this soil for the first time had an unbelievable, relentless work ethic. Okay? My great-grandfather, George Hepp, was the first to come over. George came over from Germany, didn't speak a lick of English, was 23 years old in 1902. So 1902, he comes through Ellis Island, comes through New York as most immigrants did back in those days. And he gets a job in a cotton factory. And he's working 12 hours a day, scraping together pennies to bring over the family. It's been noted that he eventually needed surgery in his stomach to remove all the cotton that was in his stomach. He eventually found a sign that said free land in Saskatchewan, Canada. If you're gutsy enough to move up to Saskatchewan, we'll give you some land for free. I think it's still true to this day. If you're ballsy enough to move up there, they'll give you some free land you got to farm. And that's where I came from. I came from Canada, but the roots came out of Ellis Island. And anytime I'm tempted to be lazy, I just think of the family ancestry, like where I came from. Would George be proud of me? Is this what he had in mind when he arrived? I mean, he wanted to provide a better future for his future offspring and the family to come thereafter. What an insult to George when I get lazy. And I'll tell you, the paradigm, or maybe a great Thomas Edison quote that's worth adopting, he said the first 40 hours of work per week are for survival. Everything after that is for success. So I don't want the paradigm of a 40-hour clock. The first 40 hours of work per week are for survival. Everything after that is for success. And the fourth one I have for you, this word came up a lot in the survey. Responsible. Oh yeah, the top leaders, the core leaders, they're responsible. And I'm going to maybe take it to another level, and I'm going to call it response-able. Core leaders are response-able. Another quote, my kids, again, memorize this at a young age. Hey, life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. I've been coaching Little League Baseball in the Laguna Niguel Little League. We're on YouTube. You can check out our games. I've been coaching for 7 years. And hey, this year, man, we're in the playoffs. We win this game and we're going to the championship. And we've got our opponents right where we want them. And we've owned these guys all year long. So we knew we had them. We're up by 3 runs going into the last inning. We have our best pitcher on the mound. And we're going against the bottom of their lineup. And we're up 3 runs, and we're just sort of licking our chops. Here comes the championship, and we're just, me and the other coaches are a little giddy in the dugout. Like, what's going to happen? And over the next 10 minutes, you're giggling. I mean, you know where I'm going with this. We did not win. We gave them the W on a silver platter. We mustered up a few words after the game. I don't even know what we said, but the kids didn't listen to anything we were saying. I get in the car, my son, and he's mute. He's got nothing to say. We go driving to get some boba. I figured boba tea is going to help this little guy, recover. He's got nothing to say at the boba tea shop. For at least 30 minutes, not a word came out of his mouth. And I'm like fishing for something, and I'm distraught, okay? We didn't talk much that night. I had a horrible sleep. I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go back to bed. I see my son in the morning. I'm like, hey, Dane, how you handling the loss? Good, Dad. What do you mean, good? Like, I haven't been sleeping. I've been up all night. I've been waiting for you to get up. He's like, no, good, Dad. He says, it's just a game. I'm like, we lost in such a dramatic fashion. It was horrible. I'm just spewing negativity all over my son. And he says, Dad, it's not like I lost my job or we're dealing with a loss in the family. It's just a game. So my perspective was all out of whack. And responsibility is all about choice. Okay? One of the 8 great work habits is have and maintain a great attitude. It does not say have and maintain other people's attitudes. If somebody is engaging with you and they're trying to bring you down, or they're mean to you, can I tell you something? There's something wrong with them. Only hurt people hurt people. Somebody whole isn't hurting other people. So you've got to choose your response to that. You choose your reaction. You choose empathy. You choose love. So these 4 behaviors aren't just going to become automatic. Okay? As Sebastian said, you've got to be self-aware. You've got to take a good look at your inventory and know where you're at. And you've got to work on them, and you've got to put in the reps. Put in the repetition over and over and over again. And I'll tell you, keep working on them until you get to a place where these behaviors can take over. It doesn't require thinking or decision making anymore. The habits take over and rule and lead you to success. That's all I have for you guys here today.